Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And happy Tuesday to you. Today is Tuesday, June 14th, and we are moving right along, Commissioner Washington. As I call this meeting to order this morning, I do want to make mention that we are technically, because a lot of folks know we're moving our mind and our mindset away, which I think is a very good thing, but however, we are still technically inside of a pandemic. That being said, Commissioner Williams will not be joining us today. She actually does have COVID. In fact, she asked this morning that I would make mention to the general public, as she's already posted on her social media outlets, to let her constituents know that she does have COVID. And we appreciate her letting us know and her not being here this morning. However, she is tuning in. She's watching this broadcast as we speak. So I told her that I would certainly let everyone know that she has COVID. I wanted to remind everybody the precautions that the CDC has placed out, the guidelines, they are still in effect. They are still real. So we encourage everyone to still act accordingly and behave accordingly in terms of social distancing and doing all of those things that keep us COVID free. It's nothing to take for granted. I want to start at this moment with our very good friend, Pastor Michael Lloyd from the Fellowship of Jesus Christ Church, to lead us in our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Lloyd, come on up. Good to see you this morning, too.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
And as the Commissioner just said, I'm not going to get close to this mic. Ask everybody to please stand for the prayer, please. Oh, most gracious, wise, eternal God, we come to you as humble as we know how. Thanking you for allowing us to see a day that was not promised to us. And it's only because of your grace and your mercy that we're here right now. We're breathing your air. We're in your presence right now. We thank you for it right now. I ask you to touch each and every one that's here. Let their words be seasoned with grace and mercy, and let compassion be shown in this place. And we thank you for all that you have done, is doing, will do. We bless you for it right now. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Lloyd, and thank you to all of the members of the Fellowship of Jesus Christ Church. Pastor Lloyd has been working and serving in our community for quite some time. He was a former deputy here in Rockdale County. We certainly appreciate his service through the Sheriff's Office, and also his continued service on behalf of he and his wife that serves through the Fellowship of Jesus Christ Church here in Rockdale County. We certainly do appreciate you coming out this morning, Pastor. I don't see Chief Cabe, I don't see any special recognitions at this time. I do want to highlight the fact and give her a round of applause. We got Director Rutledge back, so let's give her a round. Welcome her back. Absolutely. She took a much needed vacation and break and getaway and had a complete woosah moment from Rockdale County, and we certainly do appreciate it. I think sometimes our citizens don't remember or realize that our employees do have a day off. They do take PTO. They do go on vacation. Sometimes somebody gets sick, or somebody has a baby, or a kid graduates. So if you call the office and it goes to voicemail, don't be alarmed. We'll get back to you at our earliest convenience, because we have families too. So we certainly celebrate whenever one of our employees have an opportunity to do just that, spend time with their families and take care of their families, because they're so busy taking care of the community. So welcome back, Director Rutledge, and we want to thank you again for giving us a wonderful tour of the United Kingdom. You took us all over those beautiful places. My mouth was watering, and I had tantalizing moments, Director Bogan, when I was looking at some of the food in the restaurant, and I saw myself looking up some of those restaurants, Commissioner Washington, I said, let me just see what's on the menu and possibly what they might be eating.
Could you understand it?
I couldn't understand it, but guess what? There's an app for that. So I was able to, anything that sounded a little scrumptious and I wanted to figure out exactly what it was, Deputy Director Cumbie, I just pulled it up on the app and I said, oh, so that's what they're eating. That's what that is. But we're so glad that you were able to spend time with your beautiful daughter and take a moment away from county business and take care of yourself. And we encourage all of our employees to do that. Our employees here in Rockdale County, Madam Clerk, they work so hard. And everybody has their hand to the plow. We're constantly working, but I encourage all of our folks to please take a moment, take some time for your family and unplug, if you will, and make sure you do that. So I just wanted to get that out. We're going to move forward now to item number 4, the approval of the agenda. Commissioner Washington, what's your pleasure?
I move to approve the agenda as present.
It has been properly, and I second that motion. Thank you so much. It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 5, please.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I second that motion. It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions regarding the minutes of May 24th, 2022 and June 7th of 2022? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. There is no unfinished business at this particular time. We'll move right on into our consent agenda.
I move to approve the items on the consent agenda as listed below.
I second that motion. It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Yep. We're now down to the regular agenda, Executive Director Rutledge, and item number 8.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 267 is a special use permit case 2022-01, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended, to authorize a special use permit for a dog kennel at 1609 Valley View Road, Conyers, Georgia, 30012, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve the first read and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
I second that motion. It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 268 is a special use permit case 2022-02, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended, to authorize a special use permit for a daycare at 2462 Wall Street Southeast, Conyers, Georgia, 30012, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve the first reading and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
I second that motion. It has been properly motioned and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 269 is a future land use case 2022-04, an ordinance to amend the future land use map of Rockdale County's comprehensive plan as amended, so as to redesignate property located at 2051 Highway 138 Northeast from medium density residential future land use category to the high density residential land use category, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve this first reading and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
I second that motion. It has been properly motioned and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 270 is rezoning case 2022-07, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning 2051 Highway 138 from R1 and M1 to RM, to impose conditions upon the property, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve the first reading and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
It has been properly, I second that motion. Let me get that out first. It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or comments regarding this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 271 is rezoning case 2022-08, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning 1945 Sigmund Road Northwest from R1 to M1 to impose conditions upon the property, to repeal conflicting ordinances, and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve the first reading and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
I second that motion. It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any comments or questions regarding this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
All right, item 272 is rezoning case 2022-09, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning 2527 Sigmund Road Southwest from C2 to RM to impose conditions upon the property, to repeal conflicting ordinances, and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve the first reading and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
I second that motion. It has been properly motioned and second. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 273 is rezoning case 2022-10, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning 2294 Irish Drive Southwest from C2 to RM to impose conditions upon the property, to repeal conflicting ordinances, and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve the first reading and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
I second that motion. It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or comments regarding this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 274 is text amendment request 2022-01, an ordinance to amend the text of section 106-1 definitions, 218-1 permitted use table, section 218-13, and chapter 214 standards applying to all districts of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County as amended, to create regulations governing the installation and design of solar energy systems, and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve the first reading and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
I second that motion. It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 276 are amendments to the Rockdale County Employee Classification and Pay Plan as submitted by Talent Management.
I move to approve this item as presented.
I second that motion. Are there any comments or questions regarding that item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Didn't mean to raise your blood pressure,
Right.
Director Holmes. So
Right.
The dramatic effect.
She's looking around like, what's happening?
she almost went into
Well, Chairman, you are pulling dual roles this morning, so yeah, right. You have to put on two
didn't
different
mean
hats.
to do that.
Right.
My goodness. Next item, please.
All right, item 277 is land acquisition for 3500 and 3530 East Fairview Road Southwest and 3553 Highway 138 for the new site for the 911 Operations Center through the General Services Department in the amount of $1,495,038.18. This is SPLOST funded and submitted as a ratification.
I move to ratify this item as presented.
I second that motion, and I must say this is another victory for the citizens of Rockdale County. And I tell you, this really moves us further down the road in a very positive way when you think about the benefit and the essential services provided by 911. I can't think of anybody that want to dial 911 and not get a response or a reply on the other end. But to make sure that we have a state-of-the-art facility and that Rockdale is reflective, to make sure that all of our public safety units are receiving the kind of dispatch and operation services that this county and community demands. The days of us having a 911 center in the bottom of a basement in a dungeon somewhere is simply old, embarrassing, not representative or reflective of the direction of this community. So I'm gonna ask y'all, just give it a round of applause, because Commissioner Washington, we've come a long way.
Absolutely, and the building, it was almost as if it was perfect timing. It's perfectly situated for 911. It's in the perfect location, not, it's, everything isn't around it yet. It is a beautifully well-maintained building, aesthetically pleasing. Everything about it is just perfect for this county, and I think that the citizens of Rockdale County should be pleased. And the fact that we're paying for it out of SPLOST funding is another huge benefit for the county.
Yeah, and I want to, you're absolutely right. And before we move on, Director Rutledge, Chief Capel, I just want to elaborate just a little bit more, because we have citizens who serve on the SPLOST committee. Absolutely. And they serve with their time and talent and dedication to make sure these projects, whether it's public safety, parks and recreation, transportation, that we get premium and quality projects to move this community forward. But their time and service to really putting on their thinking caps to make sure that Rockdale County continues to go in the right direction. This is proof positive that this is a pivot toward progress here in Rockdale County, and that we're going in the right direction. I'll tell you, and when I think about the men and women who work in our 911 facility, let's just stop there, because these are people you don't necessarily see. You don't know they're there until you make a call and you need them for whatever reason. And of course, public safety engages with them 24 hours a day. But this is a group of individuals you don't necessarily see. Well, guess what? They're employees, and their working conditions and work environment is critically important to the success of this community, as they're putting 12-hour days inside of a facility responding to the number of requests from our citizens. So we have to make sure that that work environment is conducive for their mental health. Okay, are you hearing me? For their mental health, as well as their ergonomics and their physical health of sitting in a chair for 12 long hours with a headset behind a console, trying to remember to be calm as they receive all those emergency calls and dispatch those needs throughout Rockdale County. So I really wanted to highlight Director Morgan, the folks over at the Emergency 911 Center, who have, this is going to be a big morale booster to give them a new facility, a new space, a new fresh air of breathing to do their work. I don't know if you know anything about E911, and one of the hottest topics last week, Fox 5 News highlighted the command center downtown in Atlanta about the difficulties of finding good people and keeping good people, because there's a different workforce out here today. A lot of people just can't handle the stress of pressure of almost anything. And when you think about being able to receive those calls coming in from you, it takes a very talented individual to do that job and to be able to maintain their cool. I couldn't imagine an Oz Nesbitt on the other side of a 911 console in 2022.
You just give them.
Because first of all, the instructions I'm probably going to give are going to be too graphic, and I'm going to be too emotionally excited. I'm just not the person to be able to handle that on the other side. And then I'm an action guy, so I can't sit behind the console, then run out in a car and try to get to the house at the same time. That doesn't work like that. You got to coordinate, type, listen, communicate with the public safety services that are needed to be dispatched while keeping that caller calm all at the same time. So I'm highlighting our employees, Commissioner Washington, because it's a big task, and oftentimes people don't think about the dispatcher or the 911 call taker or operator who is over there, and they're there 24 hours a day. This is a big deal, Rockdale County, and I'm making it a big deal because guess what? It is. So again, thank you to the citizens, thank you to the SPLOST committee and all of those folks who serve to push Rockdale County in a forward direction. And I echo what Commissioner Washington has said, the fact we should be celebrating. This is being funded with SPLOST funds, and this is the benefit of having SPLOST here in Rockdale County. Any other comments about this particular item?
No.
It's been properly motioned and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Okay, so we are down to public comment, and we do have one. I don't know if we have any more on the audience, but I'll read the disclaimer, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Thank you.
As
Thank you,
a
Chief.
reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments relative to any issues that are currently going through the public hearing process, matters that are in active litigation, political campaigning, or partisan politics will not be heard in this meeting. Speakers are to address the chairman, not each other or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers and/or members of the audience shall be permitted.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Executive Director Rutledge. And we have one red comment card, Ms. Corliss Turner. Come on up, Ms. Turner.
Good morning, Rockdale.
Good morning.
I just have a request this morning. I don't know if everyone knows, but I'm one of the administrators with the Voices for Rockdale. And a lot of citizens, and I know with Commissioner Washington, she made some comments about Trader Joe's and what the results were. On the website, there is a link where you can submit a request if you want Trader Joe's in your community. Commissioner Washington is a member of Voices for Rockdale. I'm sorry. She is a member, I turned my head. She is a member of Voices for Rockdale, and I sent you a personal link in your messages, in her messages, so that she can share with her friends and family and possibly some of the county workers. And I'm asking for assistance from the rest of you, and who knows what 93 people can get to come to the Rockdale County.
Okay.
And that's all I'm asking for.
Thank you, Ms. Turner,
I
and
would
thank you
love to
for
have a
all
Trader
that you
Joe's.
do on behalf of the citizens here in Rockdale County. I do want to, Commissioner, just talk about that just for a minute. And I appreciate Ms. Turner talking about the desire of seeing, and that's nothing new. We've heard about it several times from many other residents. They love to see a Trader Joe's, a Whole Foods, a Dave & Buster's, a Krispy Kreme. We get this conversation all the time here in Rockdale County. And one of the things that I like to take a moment, just a point of education, the decision is not ultimately up to the Board of Commissioners or the City Council in the City of Conyers. When you talk about economic development, you must understand first, any company or business or industry who is considering this community and this demographic as a place to set up shop, they're going to do what is first called a feasibility study. They want to make sure that the income of the folks in this particular area will support their investment. I was over just yesterday, Commissioner Washington, at the Academy of Sports, and the young man, the item I was looking for, he said that we had plenty of them, sir, but they're out. We're out. And I said, well, can you tell me when the truck perhaps will be bringing some more? He pulled it up on, they got these nice handheld devices. They can tell you what's en route and when it's coming and pull it up. He says, to tell you the truth, it's not coming back this year. I said, well, this is just June. It seemed like an item like this will certainly be on during the summer month. He said, not coming. He said, but you can find it online. And then he went on to say this. He said, however, you can go to the store in McDonough or up in the northern part of Metro Atlanta, and they may very well have that in stock in store. And he says the reason being because they do it based upon demographics, spending trends, and all of those things are calculated and factored into what items are on the shelf because they're looking at how many people are buying what. All of those things are factored in. Now, let me just tell you, I am a fan. I've been to Trader Joe's. I've been to Whole Foods, and you can look at me and tell that I've been to Krispy Kreme a time or two. So I'm a fan of all of those retail outlets, and I would love to see them here in Rockdale County. In fact, a few years ago, in 2017, we actually penned several letters to several of those and sent it out to them, and they educated us in response that, listen, one of the things we have to do is take a look at your area and see. That doesn't negate what Ms. Turner said. We have a little over 93,000 residents. Ms. Turner, if you and your team are able to encourage and influence over 93,000 residents to reach out to Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and Dave & Buster and Krispy Kreme and all those other places you like, you may be a major influencer and capture somebody's attention. So I would love to have my signature on that line along as well. But I wanted to point that out because a lot of times folks, they often ask, well, why y'all bringing this or why aren't y'all bringing that? Well, it's not y'all. It's up to the company and the industry who decides to make an investment, and they make that decision as to where they make the investment. So I just wanted to point that out because economic development has been, it is on the top radar here in Rockdale County along with public safety. So just Commissioner, any points on that one?
The other thing is they heavily look at the median income, credit scores around the demographics. So we have a lot of work to do as far as bringing in the kind of residential housing, rooftops, the kind of people with disposable income. Because listen, some bib lettuce that they have at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's cost a whole lot different than your regular romaine lettuce that you get, that I get when I go to Publix. So you have to have the market for the people who are going to buy the soft, buttery bib lettuce over people like me that are just used to the romaine lettuce. So they're looking at all of that when they look at, are people in Rockdale County going to buy your $5 a pound olives that you get at Whole Foods? Or I can't tell y'all some of the foolishness that I've bought at Whole Foods, but is there enough people that are going to purchase that kind? They have to have the disposable income. So right now we don't have it. So part of what we do with developments, bringing in developments, we have to make sure that we bring in quality developments with the kind of income so we can have the price points that we're bringing in the people that have a certain type of demographic, if that's where we want to go in this county. So it's a lot to economic development, but definitely residents has a whole lot to do with it. So
they really do it, and this is a continued education piece on this because there's so many variables, so many things that are involved with making the decisions to not only attract businesses into our community, but to be able to retain those businesses. Absolutely. Too. Again, they don't want to come here in 6 months or a year later down the road, they're having to close up shop and go elsewhere because the folks did not support it or the income wasn't there. We have to be balanced in our approach. And what I mean by that, when we talk about having different amenities in our community, we have to first think about the infrastructure of the community. Can it sustain? Can it support industry and businesses and that kind of thing? The commissioner pointed out about attracting residents that will bolster up the tax base. I will report to you that Rockdale County is moving in the right direction. If you've not had an opportunity to get in your car and drive from the north side to the south side, you will see that we've got a lot of development, both residential and commercial, that's underway as we speak. So we're moving in the right direction, and I think some of those industries that a lot of folks like to see here will eventually make their way here, but it starts with education. And it certainly starts with income to be able to bolster up what we need to attract those kind of folks. People won't even consider us if we don't meet all of the certain numbers of those check marks during the feasibility study in order for us to be eligible or to qualify for them to make the investment to come to Rockdale. But I wanted to explain that a little bit because oftentimes folks think that it's really us that's standing in the way. No, we want them here. We certainly want them here, but there has to be a balance, but there has to be a level of understanding when folks begin to talk about it so they'll know why they're not here and what brings them on board. Commissioner, we're down now to actual board comments. I think we've kind of slid right into it there, following up to a response to Ms. Turner's positive report this morning, but I'm going to yield to you.
Okay. Number one, Commissioner Williams, we hope that you feel better. And that being said, you know, as the chair said, we are still in a pandemic and we still need to take precautions. You know, I've started back wearing my masks in most places. I will probably start back here next week being masked up. We need to, you know, go back to washing your hands, especially now that the kids are out of school and, you know, they're everywhere. In my neighborhood, they are everywhere. So, you know, just be cognizant of the fact that we are still in the pandemic. The Clerk of Court is here, and I did want to, when I saw her walk in, talk about a very positive interaction I had last week. I had to get my passport renewed, and it expired on me, and I just was like, I can't get out of this country. I've got to go get it renewed. Me too, but they did an outstanding job taking me through every bit of my options. I didn't know that there were options now. You don't have to renew at the clerk's office. You can do it on, you can send it off. You don't have to go actually to the clerk's office, and they did a very, very good job, very professional, very accommodating, so excellent customer service there. And it wasn't just me. Like, of course, you know, people are like, well, you the commissioner, everybody knows you know. I was in line, and I saw them give excellent customer service to the people in front of me, so I wanted to tell you that your people did an outstanding job. Juneteenth, I thought we were going to have a
We are.
Okay.
I wanted to get to your, because you were the creative mind of the Juneteenth, and we weren't going to leave you out. So public relations is, they're ready. They're ready. So if you want to give them the go ahead, they'll bring it right up.
Go ahead. Well, okay. Well,
there it is.
This Sunday is Juneteenth. It's also Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all of our fathers. But of course, this is Juneteenth, and you'll see it in the video. I want to encourage everybody to think of a service project to do for Juneteenth. I know, and I've said it, you'll hear it here, that we think of MLK as the time to do service, but this is also another opportunity to give back to this country in a form of a community service, and then start your children with the community service project and the knowledge of what Juneteenth is and what it means to this country. So I guess this is me saying we can start the video. No? Roll them. Okay.
It's loading.
I got one more thing after this. Juneteenth is, to me, it's the solidification of the promise of freedom. Our Declaration of Independence says that every man has unalienable rights, which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Abraham Lincoln announced the Emancipation Proclamation in January of 1863, but it only applied to the parts of the Confederacy that the Union controlled. Over 2 years until the end of the war in 1865, wherever the Union took control, enslaved people were freed. And so there are different dates of celebration throughout the South. And many of these dates are referred to as Jubilee days. And so Texas, being the furthest geographically from the rest of the country, there were still about 250,000 enslaved people who did not know they were free. Some of it was a result of the distance, but also the resistance of slave owners who knew the war was over, but they were resistant in freeing enslaved people.
To me, it wasn't until June 19th of 1865 that America, the United States of America, fully realized the promise of liberty to every man and woman that resided in this country. As far as making it a holiday, whenever something is very important to you, you put your money where your mouth is and you do everything that you are empowered to do to recognize that. And so to me, it was a no-brainer to make Juneteenth a countywide holiday.
So it wasn't until June 19th of 1865 in which General Gordon Granger arrived with about 2,000 Union troops to Galveston, Texas, and announced that the war had ended and that enslavement was over. And so that culminated in a celebration of those formerly enslaved persons. And that celebration occurred every year on June 19th. Oftentimes in a Juneteenth celebration, there is the reading of the Emancipation Proclamation.
I do order and declare all persons held as slaves within said designated states and parts of states are henceforward shall be free.
There are games, there are celebrations, but there's also reflections of what has happened over the year. And so in the annual event of Juneteenth, each year when persons in Texas would gather, they would celebrate successes of what was happening within the community. And that became a part of this tradition and of a remembrance of where they were, but also how far they had come. The fact that even when Juneteenth came, what happened to those enslaved persons in Texas and even throughout the South and during Reconstruction. Because I think that's also a part of the story, that even though they were free, in many ways they were still in bondage as a result of the economic structure, the lack of education, overall quality of life, and limited opportunities that they would have, and in many cases for generations. And so I think that also has to be part of the story that we're talking about if we're going to truly understand the purpose and the legacy of Juneteenth.
Everybody should be doing at least one kind of service project. I know we think of MLK as service, but Juneteenth should also be a day where you recognize that there's a lot more that we could be doing for citizens in this country. Doing one service project, if it's picking up trash or going to deliver food to the senior citizens, something as your gift back to society should be done on Juneteenth.
Commissioner Washington, let me just take a moment to say congratulations for pushing this effort forward.
Thank you.
You did a phenomenal job with this video, and to you and public relations. It was very clean, crisp. And one of the things that I talked about a couple of years ago when we brought up the Juneteenth holiday was the emphasis on educating and making sure that people understood the meaning behind Juneteenth. And as we know, this is pretty much an African-American holiday that is celebrated nationwide. 2 years ago, I talked about the fact that there's many African-Americans, black folk, who didn't even know the true meaning of Juneteenth. So I was always under the belief that if you're going to celebrate something, you need to be able to be educated about whatever it is you're celebrating. And I think the more we can educate folks, and then the other piece of that is, if we're to expect other folks and other cultures to embrace our holidays, then I think it's important first that we know what the holiday is all about, and we have a clear understanding ourselves. This is an educational moment, and this weekend there will be multiple Juneteenth celebrations throughout the metropolitan Atlanta area. And I do want to highlight the work that Pastor Lee and the folks over at Springfield Baptist Church is doing this weekend. They've gone all out. In fact, Pastor Lee came by to see us a few weeks ago, and he stopped by my office and said, Chairman Nesbitt, we're going to blow it out of the water with our Juneteenth celebration. So the folks over at Springfield Baptist Church will be doing Juneteenth to the fifth power this weekend. So he said that all are welcome to come. And he did point out that there will be several corridors of education to educate people about the meaning and the history behind the Juneteenth holiday. But Commissioner Washington, we certainly do appreciate it. You've made this a county employee holiday for the employee.
We have made.
We have, but you got the ball rolling, and I want to give credit where credit is due. And the employees are certainly appreciative of you initiating that on behalf of all of the county employees. But I am really excited about this educational piece, taking the moment to educate and explain what Juneteenth is all about, because there may be somebody celebrating that don't even know what they're celebrating, and now they know, and now they have a level of understanding. You've got some other items on your comment list.
Well, first I wanted to thank Talent Management for that, and also Dr. Dow. Dr. Dow's actually my line sister. We went to Savannah State together. She's amazing. She's a professor at Emory now at the College of Oxford. I don't know, Oxford College of Emory, or I don't know how that's pronounced. But she's doing an outstanding job, so I did want to tell both Talent Management, Dr. Dow, thank you. Final thing is my excerpt from our Leadership Academy. Colin Powell, I know you all, Jamie is sitting at the edge of his seat waiting for these weekly, so I didn't want to disappoint him. So this week we have talked about the essence of leadership, and General Powell says, so the essence of leadership is about doing all that the science of management says you can with resources, but taking that extra step and giving it that spark. And that spark comes from getting people to trust you so they will follow you, if only out of curiosity. So that is all I got, and I'm good.
All right. Well, let me say about, first of all, the leadership program that you're enrolled in with General Powell. We appreciate your enrollment, and we see the proof positive as we continue to engage and interact. I got a very good, wouldn't call it a report, but an engagement with Chief Cabe the other day, and he was talking about your 13 principles that General Powell and Powell talks about and points out in his program. And he talked about, he referenced you. I mean, he really did. He referenced you, and the fact that he can see certainly a difference in the way that your communication style and you approach the Littlewood County issues and embracing some of the things that we as a board have to deal with. You know, there's never enough opportunities for training and improvement. And when you talk about leadership and execution and managing projects and people, you really do have to remember that we're not just managing people, we're managing personalities. And all through those 13 principles that General Powell points out in his book, he talks about the different phases and stages of leadership and how to apply them. The thing that I like the most, Commissioner Washington, how to apply them, Director Rutledge, in the most practical way. More not in theory, but in reality, hands-on, that's real. And when you read them the other week, I was sitting here listening to all 13 of those principles, and I'm saying, okay, these are the things that we do here, and they're not unattainable. They're low-hanging fruit opportunities to engage with people the proper way. And so keep up the good work. We will be sitting on the edge of our seat again, watching you from week to week, but waiting for you to actually give us an update on what you learned in the last week or two. So we appreciate that. You have anything else?
Nothing else.
I do want to, in my comments, again, I want to say that, yes, we're still in a pandemic. The county operations are wide open. Last Sunday, we opened Coastal Mill Beach and had a tremendous turnout of kids and family. They had hot dogs and hamburgers and chips and water. And I wanted to take a moment. In fact, I'm going to yield to Director Redmond. Director Redmond, if you would come up, I don't think there's a better person that can explain it than Director Redmond, but I really want you to talk a little bit about the reasons behind why we have to periodically bring the young people out of the water, because sometimes folks don't understand from a health standpoint.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As the chairman mentioned, we had a wonderful time last week opening up the beach at Costa Mill. Residents, we've had a lot of inquiries about when we were going to open. Because of the pandemic, we were closed for about 2 years out there. And just quite frankly, people enjoy coming out, getting in the water. It was warm, very warm. And so the topic did come up while the chairman was out. He and I were talking. And in between, while we're on the beach, we have the swimming sessions broken up in time slots, and that is for just simply safety. It's not recommended for any type of open water to have long-term exposure to it. So we have sessions where we have to clear the beach out, the lifeguards get to go around and make sure everything's safe, reset everything, and then we allow everyone to get back in. So it's just a safety precaution that we take through education from RWR actually and EMA. So just partnering with those two departments, they've educated us quite a bit on what's needed from our perspective to keep everyone safe.
Well, I certainly do appreciate you, your staff. Miss Alandra Bean is rocking and rolling
She's doing a
as
great
she is
job.
now in charge of the whole Costa Mill Park. But one of the delays, and I must point this out, Chief Cave and Commissioner Washington, was that one of the delays, in addition to COVID, was the lack of personnel. We have to have lifeguards.
Yes.
We have to have lifeguards. So we couldn't open the park until we had it fully staffed with the proper amount of lifeguards that's required. But I also appreciate what the director is sharing with us about we have to allow the young people to be, or anybody for that matter, to be in the water for a period of time, then they blow the whistle. After a period of time, you have to come out of the water. That is for safety and health regulations. You understand that we are Rockdale County. We're not the pool in your backyard. You can do what you want to do at the pool in your backyard, but we know that folks will take us to court and they'll point the blame at the county in a heartbeat if we don't blow that whistle doing intervals of bringing people in and out of the water. So there's a whole different mindset in terms of the county with the word liability when we think about doing organized recreational activities. So if you hear someone wondering why they pull the people out of the water or what have you, please take a moment and just explain to them this is a government entity. We can't do it like you do it when you have your pool party in your backyard. You can do almost just about what you want to do. I said just about, but we have a whole different set of rules and regulations being a county entity. I also want to, you want to give us some information a little bit more about what's coming up out at Costa Mill, because this is June and there's a buzz in the air.
Yes, it is. And our next event at Costa Mill will be the Summer Concert Series. It'll be our kickoff. We will host Mr. Jalen Gilstrap and friends. Looking forward to a great time. He will kick off the Summer Concert Series, and we're expecting a huge turnout. This past Sunday, we had about 300 to 400 people turn out, so we're expecting even more people with the concert.
So, when Director Redmond talks about, this is year number 5, I think,
Yes,
for the
it's 5.
summer. We've been doing this since 2017. But we started, if y'all remember, in the backyard of the BOC parking lot. That's where we actually started having the concerts, and they've grown. Last year, I think there were 2 concerts of the 4 that had about well over 300 people.
Yes.
It has become very popular. People started asking about the summer concert series. We want to encourage Rockdale residents to come early. The gates open at a specific time. If you pull up to the gate, you realize it's not open, just hold tight, bear with us. We're gonna let you in. Bring out your lawn chair, because you're gonna need somewhere to sit if you don't wanna sit on the ground. And if the pavilion is full, we will have food vendors on site there, and you are allowed to bring your pet. You can bring your dog, but it has to be on the leash. Let me say that one more time. Your dog has to be on a leash. Now, your dog is cute to you. Your dog is not cute to everybody. Everybody don't like dogs. Some people just are terrified of dogs. I even know a good friend of mine who just don't like cats at all.
Right.
But I'm talking about dogs right now. I'm talking about dogs. I'm talking about dogs right now. So if you bring your dog, and I'm a dog lover. I'm a dog lover. But I'm a dog lover. We talking about dogs, Commissioner Washington. If you bring your dog, Director Moore Jackson, I don't know whether you own a dog or not, but if you bring your dog to the concert and enjoy some of that music, put it on a leash. because everybody don't think your dog is as cute as you think your dog is. So I just want to put that out there. We welcome, this is a family affair. It's going to be hot. Bring your bottled water, dressed appropriate, and come out to have a good time. I do appreciate the proactive measures of both the sheriff's office as well as fire and rescue. We have them already on site. Yes. So we don't have to wait until the ambulance get there. Lord, we hope we don't need the ambulance, but I'm just saying we're being proactive and we're thinking forward. We have them already there, Director Bogan. We want to be proactive and make sure, Pastor Lord, that we're ready in the event that something takes place. And that's the planning that goes into place with Parks and Recreation being proactive. And Director, you're going to add something else to
just to give the date one more time. June 26th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Costing Mill. The gates will open at 4:30.
The gates will open at 4:30. Yes, there we have it. We'll look forward to seeing you at the Summer Concert Series. Thank you to Parks and Rec for all of the work they do to bring wonderful amenities to our residents here in Rockdale County, particularly during the summer months. And we encourage you to, if you have guests in on the weekend, and we invite you to bring your guests on out to Costly Mill Park. We're still hearing people say, I didn't know this park was here. It's such a beautiful, rustic, outdoor 77 acres of walking space, outdoor adventurous space that you can just go and find some time to be at peace. And you don't have to wait till the concert. You can go out there. The park is closed on Mondays. And they also have a wonderful, how old is KJ now?
He's 3.
He's 3. Well, he's still eligible because we have a kiddie park on the outside that he can slide. They've got a nice heavy-duty fiberglass sliding board and all of that, and a covered pavilion. If parents or big mama or grandparents or whatever y'all call yourselves these days want to have a picnic or a gathering with KJ and the rest of them, you got a place to be able to do that. So we try to be family oriented and make sure that we think about all of our residents in Rockdale County. So many wonderful things going on. I do want to remind everybody of this very extreme heat. This is nothing to play with. It was 10:30 last night and 87 degrees. Right. So make sure you stay hydrated. I'm encouraging all of our directors and deputy directors to make sure that all of our employees who are out in the field and all of those who work out in the field, public safety and everybody, water department, code enforcement, parks and rec, stay hydrated because this heat is nothing to play with. And by the way, a heat stroke doesn't have an age limit. It doesn't matter how old you are. You think that sometimes it's just the older citizens who, no. We see countless reports, Director Lewis, of young people doing athletics and sports and outside activities that end up having some type of heat exhaustion. So we encourage everybody to please stay hydrated throughout these temperatures. The other thing, school is out, and we're going to probably keep saying that a few times. Slow down is what we're really saying. Slow down through the neighborhoods and the communities. I'd be remiss, Chief Cabe, if I just don't talk about what's happening in the metro. And I'm always wanting to alert the citizens in Rockdale County to be alert, be aware. Don't want you to be paranoid, but we certainly want you to be aware. There's a lot of criminal activities that's happening in the metro area, a lot of violence, and I want you to be alert of what's around you, who around you, pay attention to what's going on, make sure you lock your vehicles, you lock your door, make sure that your surveillance camera, your Ring camera, whatever on your house or your home is working, and that you're able to see all of who is passing through, and make sure that you can report. And watch this. If you see something, say something. We don't have a deputy or a police officer for every street. They have zones and areas to patrol, and they may not be aware of something. So if you see something that's not right or out of order, we want you to call and report it. But there's a lot of crime happening in the metro area, and I hate having to share this, but I have to share it. I want people to be vigilant. Be alert here in Rockdale County and be aware as you're moving and going. And what I'm noticing, Pastor Lord, it almost doesn't matter where you are now. It really is sad, but you could be at church, the barber shop, the grocery store, the gas pump. You could be in your driveway, and the criminal element is lurking and moving around. So please, ma'am, please, sir, be alert of what you're doing as you move throughout this summer. We are also excited about the upcoming quality customer service training. We're in partnership with one of America's finest restaurants, Chick-fil-A. I mean, when you talk about customer service, I tell you hands down, there's not too many other places and people that do it the way the folks over at Chick-fil-A. Even with a line wrapped around the building, they seem to get you in and get you out. And one thing I like about it, when you place your order, you can know that your order is correct. What you ask for to be in the bag is in the bag, unlike some of the other places. We're doing, Talent Management has partnered up with Chick-fil-A, and we're going to be hosting, I'm not sure if Public Relations have that particular graphic to show. If you do, fine. If not, don't worry about it. Come on up, Director Holmes, because you have the dates and the times and how many slots available for folks to register. I'm going to say just a little bit more as she prepared to get her thoughts together. Many of us, and I don't want to beat up on the fast food folks, okay, because not just them, but many of us have experienced poor customer service when doing business in our community, whether retail or fast food or hospitality, and you've come across something that didn't sit well with you while you were spending your money and patronizing a business. We want you to reach out to the management and say, listen, guess what? Rockdale County is hosting a customer service event that's open to the public, and you can send employees and get Director Holmes. Tell us all about what's happening.
Yes, the flyer is actually up, so it is scheduled for June 22nd. The hours are from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. You can still register. The deadline to register is June 16th. Mr. Chairman, we only have 8 slots left. Woo. So if you are interested, you definitely want to make sure you get in on this. You can go to our Facebook page. You also can contact our office directly, so I'm going to give you that number, 770-278-7575. Again, that's 770-278-7575. It's going to take place at the beautiful Costly Mill Park, so we definitely look forward to everybody being able to come out and share in this experience.
And I hear you're going to have refreshments too.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Chick-fil-A will be providing the lunch, so
I knew
yes.
it would be nobody other than Chick-fil-A providing the lunch. Absolutely. I'm old school, and y'all know I'm from down there in Augusta, and we like ourselves some good old lemonade. And I don't know who does it better. On this end of I-20, Chick-fil-A got it down packed with the lemonade. They got some good lemonade eastbound in Augusta. I just want to tell you, if you've ever been down to the national golf course down there, they got lemon. I don't know what they do, how they get that lemonade to taste, but Chick-fil-A, hands down, has some of the best real, sure enough, Southern lemonade. We want to give them a big plug because we appreciate them partnering with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And as a matter of fact, I've heard from some other retail outlets, Commissioner Washington, who will be sending some of their employees to be in the first few rows of this training session to hear how they do it over at Chick-fil-A. This is a great opportunity. I'm really proud of Rockdale County being able to host this, not just for our own internal staff and operations, but for the external, for the public, for folks out in the public. So if you've got an employee, watch this, that needs what I call an attitude adjustment, come on by, and they're going to tell you how they do it over at Chick-fil-A and how they get it done, and you'll have repeat business over and over and over again. So we're excited about that. And you said...
One more thing. I love a good acronym. I'm going to share it again because I shared it last week. This is one of their focus areas for their training. It's called the HERD model. It stands for Hear, empathize, apologize, resolve, and delight. So they are going to be sharing that. The marketing director will be there. She will be facilitating that training for us.
I love that. Can you repeat it just one more time?
Yes, we love acronyms.
Somebody's writing this down too. I really go slow if you would.
I
You
will,
talk so
Mr. Chairman.
fast when
I
you
do.
talk.
It's the HEARD model. It stands for hear, empathize, apologize, resolve, and delight.
That is customer service at its best right there, Commissioner White. Delight, yes. I like to be delighted when I'm spending my money because I chose you. I could have went somewhere else. I like for you to delight me. When I love for you to say thank you, come again. I like to hear that stuff when I'm spending my money. A lot of times now when you hand them the money, they just look at you. They don't say thank you, appreciate you, or nothing. So I hope all of them are in this training class. I really try not to go to fast food. I don't need it no way, but every now and then I end up having a late lunch and I'm scrambling for what I'm about to eat, and I end up having to go to one of the fast food places. And I get a little semi-irritated when they're not, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. I'm unapologetic about being old school and raised the proper way with respect and manners. They don't say thank you, welcome, none of that kind of stuff. Some of them, not all of them, but a lot of them just don't, and they don't know how to really, and I'm saying you're representing a company. And if you want repeat business, there used to be a sign on the door at a lot of places that said, thank you for your business. We appreciate your business. And they used to have in the, not so far back, the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s, there used to be on what they used to call a comment card, where you could leave a comment on, now everything is online. If you go online and you do the DoorDash or any of that kind of stuff, they'll send you a survey after you should have received your meal, asking you, was it warm, was it prompt, was the order easy to. They're going to do all this on the 22nd. I'm sorry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You get to talking about quality customer service, and I can just go on and on and on. It's so important. We want to, Director Rutledge, is there any need for executive session?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you to all of you all who took the time to come out. Ms. Corliss Turner, we certainly do appreciate your comments and coming out this morning. Pastor Lloyd, it's always good to see you. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.